Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. Courgettes are growing like mad and I've got several recipes that I use on a regular basis, but today I'm going to share with you my courgette and onion relish. Most relishes don't last very long, but this particular recipe does last all year. It's perfect to have as a little side on a salad with cold meats, on hot dogs or burgers or anything like that. So it's a really lovely recipe that will sit on the shelf for over a year. So we're starting with 1 kilo of courgettes, 1 kilo of onions, 2 large red peppers. I've got 4 small ones. Obviously mine aren't ready yet, so I've bought these ones from Aldi, and 3 tablespoons of salt. That's the first phase. We grate all that, cut it up and grate it all up, and we'll put the salt on and leave it for 12 hours to soak. So because some of the courgettes were a little bit bigger, I'm just split them down and I'm just going to take out some of the seeds. Don't have to take them all out, but I'm just going to take some of them out. And the same with this one here that's, oh, actually he hasn't got too many seeds in him. Just take a little bit out. I'm going to chop this up so that I can get it in my electric grater. If you haven't got it, you can just slice the peppers and the onions and grate the courgettes down with a grater, or even like say finely slice all of it. It really doesn't matter if you haven't got equipment or haven't got electric. For those of you that already watch my channel, you know that I grow most of my own veg if I can. So I've just popped out to get some celery, because the recipe actually said celery seeds, which I would add after this lot is soaked in the jars. But I don't have any celery seeds, so I'm just going to take the greens off and chop it up at the same, or grate it up at the same time as the rest of it. So that's all our ingredients grated down. We're just literally going to add 3 tablespoons of salt, but don't panic, we will be washing it out tomorrow. So we'll sprinkle that over. What the salt does is it helps the vegetables release all the water. So then I'm going to put enough cold water to cover all the vegetables. I'm just going to cover over with a tea towel and leave that for about 12 hours. So you could leave it overnight if you wanted to. So I'm going to make the brine, we want 1.5 kilos of sugar. I don't have my scales, so it's roughly 7 cups of sugar. One and a half teaspoons of mustard seeds, but I don't actually have just mustard seeds, but I do have some pickling spice. So I'm going to do one and a half, but I'm just going to pick out the bay leaves and the chilies. You could add some chili flakes if you wanted a bit more heat. Three teaspoons of nutmeg. Again, if you didn't have nutmeg, just nutmeg, you could use an allspice. And then we've got 1.5 tablespoons of turmeric. That's the dry ingredients. And then you'll need roughly 925 grams of white vinegar. I've got a litre there, so I'll put most of that in, just leave a little bit out. Nearly missed it off the bottom of the list. Ground white pepper, 3/4 teaspoon. So this is the next day. I'm going to finish the relish. It's been standing for about 14 hours. I'm going to strain it off, give it a good rinse to wash the salt out and put it back in the pan. After I'd washed the vegetables, I just had a little taste just to make sure the majority of the salt was out. It's fine if you can taste a little tiny salty flavour, but the majority is out. I gave it a squeeze as I took it out the pan just to get most of the water out. It wasn't a hard squeeze, just a gentle squeeze, just to get the majority of the water out. And now we're just going to add all the rest of the ingredients. And then we're going to put it on the stove, mix it all up and bring it to the boil, turn it down and simmer for 10 minutes. Sorry. I've also sorted out my jars on the stove, just to what I've put them all in my pressure canner. I'm just going to warm them up a bit so that when we put the hot relish into the jars, there's no glass shock. So I've just turned the water on in there, and I'm going to mix up our relish and then wait for it to come up to the boil. So our relish is ready. It literally, I brought it to the boil, turned it down, simmered for 10 minutes. You'll notice that I've changed my top because I had an afterthought that it's turmeric in the recipe, and it stains like mad, and I didn't want it on my white top. So these are the hot jars. Just going to take the lids off. I normally do them in smaller jars because once they're open, it'll keep in the fridge for about 3 days. So I want to make sure I'm going to use it all. Fill your jars, keep some of the liquid in there as well. Just going to make sure there's no air bubbles in there. Wipe around the top with some white vinegar. And there we go. I'm going to do the rest of them and get back to you. So there we have it, 10 jars of courgette relish. It will store on the shelf for 6 months in a cool, dry place. But realistically, you're looking at a year. I've had it for over a year and it's still really good, but I can only give you the guidance, recommended guidance. Once opened, it will store in the fridge for 2 weeks. It's an absolutely fantastic way to preserve courgettes long term to eat later on in the year. So I think once you try this recipe, it's so quick and easy. Probably took me, if I wasn't videoing, probably took me about 35 minutes to make in total. That's preparing the veg yesterday, letting it stand overnight, obviously, and then what I've done this morning. You really couldn't get a simpler recipe. It isn't a sticky recipe, as in thick. So it lends itself well to go with any meal, like cold meat, salad, pork chops, anything you want. Go on sandwiches, hot dogs. Yeah, really nice, so give it a go. So hope you enjoy, and the all important thank you to everybody who's continued to watch my videos. Till next time, bye.